Hi, my name is Atomicus, and I'm here to help you get into competitive TF2. If you missed the previous episode, I highly recommend checking it out before watching this one. In this episode, we will discuss about the 6 vs 6 format and the basic roles of each class. 6 vs 6 has been designed as a deathmatch game mode for competitive TF2. The main lineup for this mode is 2 utility classes, usually the 2 scouts, 2 soldiers, 1 demo man, and 1 medic. When it comes to unlocks, the 6 vs 6 format is quite strict on the matter, not allowing as many weapons as Highlander. Starting up with the Scout, he is a highly mobile cleanup class used to capture points and move in and out of fights to deal and avoid as much damage as possible. In standard 6 vs 6 play, a team will have 2 Scouts. When playing this class, one will be expected to successfully capture points, control the flank, and be able to clean up the damage put out by heavy classes, which are the Soldier and Demo Man. Generally speaking, a Scout will have a high number of kills and a moderate amount of damage. Diving in to kill already damaged players is the primary cause of this. Scouts are also often the best candidates for off-classing depending on the situation. The secret to the Scout class is going into a fight and catching enemies unaware. The Scout is usually more expendable than the other classes, excluding the roaming soldier. Some teams like to assign roles to their Scouts to keep everyone coordinated. Having a passive Scout and an aggressive Scout on the team keeps inexperienced players from getting out of position, either resulting in death from aggression or missed opportunities from passiveness. The passive Scout's job is roughly to protect the demo man and help the medic build Uber when an opportunity arises. While he still wants to help out his fellow Scout on the flank and clean up damage, protecting the demo man is his main objective. When there are stalemate situations in a match, the passive Scout is the one that will build the medic's Uber charge using the Boston Basher. The aggressive Scout usually goes for kills and high damage on the flank. If a player is weak, he will chase that player down and kill him. The problem with this role-oriented approach is that when a Scout is smart enough to know when to be passive and when to be aggressive, it is more efficient for him to switch roles when a situation calls for it, rather than getting stuck in a mindset that can be very detrimental to his team. Most high-level teams avoid this passive versus aggressive assignment system, but it can help teams that lack the coordination and game sense. The Scouts are also usually the ones that will off-class during certain moments in a match, but we will get to that later in this episode. The main Scout loadout in this format is Scattergun plus Pistol and the Boston Basher. Overall roles: control the flanks while picking up enemy players based on your team's damage. Switch off between aggressive and passive playstyles depending on the current situations. Off-class when necessary, usually during last point defenses. Try and go for a medic pick if you're behind enemy lines. The soldier would usually fulfill 2 main roles, Pocket Soldier and Roaming Soldier. The Pocket Soldier focuses on keeping his medic alive and using heals to deal damage, take positioning on his enemies, and lead his team. The Roaming Soldier plays a fundamental role in initiating battles for his team by creating distractions and advantages and supporting his team by controlling the flanks. The most basic role of the Pocket Soldier is keeping the medic alive and using his abundant heals to deal damage, get kills, and lead the team. The Pocket along with the medic and demo man form the core combo of any 6 vs 6 team. The Pocket is usually the 3rd biggest pick behind the medic and demo man. However, since he is usually at a fearsome 300 health, it is not so easy to kill him. The standard loadout for the Pocket Soldier is the rocket launcher, the shotgun, and the escape plan. The Roaming Soldier's main job is to help one of his Scouts on the flanks and create openings in the other team so that his own team can push. The Roamer is most often the player that will suicide into the other team in hopes of getting a medic pick or to force the medic to use his Uber charge. The Roamer also wants to know the ins and outs of a map so that he knows all of its hiding spots and flanks. He wants to hide so that he can easily get a jump on the enemy team and hopefully get a pick or 2. Hiding also provides the advantage of knowing exactly what the enemy team is doing, allowing the Roamer to relay information back to his team and gaining an advantage over the opposition. A common skill set that you should practice overall is rocket jumping. The standard loadout for a Roaming Soldier is the rocket launcher, the gunboats, and the escape plan. Overall roles for the Pocket Soldier: defend your medic while leading your team pushes together with the demo, dealing the main damage. Overall roles for the Roaming Soldier: control the flanks together with the Scouts, offering your team openings for a proper engagement. If you're behind enemy lines, go for a medic or demo man pick whenever possible. The demo man holds the primary role of dealing initial damage and crowd control. He makes sure the enemy never pushes into his team without taking damage and uses his spamming abilities to funnel the enemy team so they can be cleaned up by his teammates. He is also essential for defending as his sticky traps can get him easy kills and force the enemy to retreat, and his grenade spam can easy chunk the enemy team's health if they are careless with their positioning. Demo is considered one of the harder roles in 6s due to his lack of mobility, causing him to have to consider his positioning carefully if he wishes to both not die quickly in a fight and still do a decent amount of damage to the enemy. Due to the nature and main goal of the class being damage dealing, with great damage output potential at medium to long ranges, the Demo Man is often unprepared for close range fights, leaving him vulnerable to fast and dynamic classes such as the Scout or a roaming soldier. Because of this, the Demo is usually near the Pocket Soldier and Medic to form the core combo of the team. The main loadout for the Demo Man is the Grenade Launcher, Sticky Launcher, and the Pain Train. Since the Demo is so weak versus Scouts, in most cases he will die to a Scout with or without the Pain Train negative stats. Overall roles: deny or punish enemy teams' pushes while giving your team the advantage they need to push back or defend. Position yourself properly so your team can support you as best as they can. Use sticky traps and your spammy weaponry to be in control of key areas. The Medic is a vital part of any team, just like in Highlander, with his ability to use Uber charges or crits charges on teammates for pushes from point to point or for saving teammates. Due to this, he is usually the most targeted player by the enemy team. One of the two soldiers, known as the Pocket, is supposed to protect the Medic. If a team loses a Medic, they are posed with a large disadvantage of no heals and may be pushed back to another point or even lose the game. In some cases, the Medic may have to leave his teammates to get a health back. Medics will usually communicate their Uber charge percentage as well as their position to their team so they can prepare pushes and defenses and be ready for an enemy push. In 6 vs 6, the more commonly used Medic guns are the stock Medic gun and the Crit Squeak. The main loadout is usually Crusader's Crossbow plus Medic gun and the Uber Saw. Some medics will switch Medic gun depending on the situation, sometimes surprising enemies with a crits charge, usually done with the Demo Man for maximum damage output. Overall roles: overheal your Demo Man at the beginning of each round, then overheal the 2 Scouts before reaching the battlefield. Don't overheal the Pocket Soldier as he'll be using the escape line in order to roll out properly. Position yourself properly so you can heal your team efficiently. Don't overextend and you should retreat if most of your team has died. Don't go Battle Medic, and focus healing the Pocket Soldier most of the time, followed by the Demo Man and the Scouts. Now we shall go back to the utility classes known as off classes. The 2 Scouts can change class at any point in time during a match, but are limited to just one of the 9 classes at the same time. The most common off class is usually the Sniper, as it allows for teams to initiate engagements easier if they fall behind in terms of Uber charge percentages. For last point defenses, the Heavy, Pyro, and Engineer classes get picked most of the time, and the Spy is chosen for last point sneaky attacks or caps when the enemy team is less expecting such a change class. In terms of unlocks, these off classes are usually allowed only the stock weapons, though some of them are allowed a couple of unlocks here and there. As a general rule, if you plan on changing to Engineer for a last point defense, is that you shouldn't waste time picking the Engi class unless you have enough time to build at least a level 2 sentry before the enemy team pushes. On that note, we shall end this episode since we've covered the basics of the 6 vs 6 format, and hopefully now you can decide which format you would like to start off with. Be it Highlander or 6 vs 6, there are still more things to learn, such as rollouts, competitive terms, proper calling, and overall map knowledge. In the next episode, we will cover these terms and the basic rollouts for most classes. You can find links in the description if you wish to contact me, and you should subscribe to get notified when the next episode will get released. If you have any questions, do post them in the comment section or in my Steam group. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.